sorted. Right, so welcome to this week's episode of Work the Left Side. I am joined by the always awesome Chocolate Thunder. Dude, how's it going? How's Tricks? How you keeping? Is hopefully starting to feel a bit better, or?
Yeah, feeling good. I've got my 5th cycle of chemotherapy this week, so Wednesdays when I go in and have my infusion. Feeling all right. Not been too ill or anything. Still getting out and about as much as I can do. So yeah, doing okay, to be perfectly honest.
Awesome. Saw you out and about a week ago. I think it was on Facebook. You was posting photos. Looked like you was out in the nature somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I There's a place in Leicester. There's a park called Bradgate Park, and there's a big hill, and at the top of it there's a tower called Old John, and it's a bit of a climb. Like obviously, I'm not quite got as much stamina as I used to, but yeah, we've decided to climb to the top of that, which was a journey. But yeah,
Right.
just trying to stay as active as I can do.
That's it. Keep the cardio up as much as you can and whatnot.
Yeah, it's
the
pretty much
eventual return. You don't want too much, ring rust. You don't want to be starting from scratch again with cardio and everything like that, do you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's I've got to get back to where I was before, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge.
I can't see after obviously once you're back up and fighting, and probably take you a couple of months to hopefully shake it all off and then be back to where you was. I would have thought. Well, obviously, hopefully you hit the ground running again. Obviously, last time we spoke, we was just coming to the tail end of the global bastard, as I tend to call it. Obviously, before the ill sickness. How was you finding it being back in the ring, with the crowd there and everything like that? Was it? Did you manage to hit the ground running after lockdown?
I'll be honest. It took me a few months to sort of get back into the swing of it. I think my first show was for PCW after lockdown. And yeah, I think I had to do. It was 2 matches in one show, and yeah,
Wow.
I could tell I haven't been I wasn't in ring shape, so I think I had to sort out my diet, sort out my cardio, and after a couple of months, I was feel right on top of my game. I felt like I can do this now. I'm more confident in the ring. I could go better than I could before. So I think it took a couple of months for me to get back to my stride, really.
Because I know during lockdown we talked about it previously, I can't remember if you had PT or not, but you was doing this. You was on a proper training regime. You was getting into really good shape and everything like that as well. 2 matches in one day, man. That's like going straight back into the deep end, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was just it would probably just be one match, and I was like, I'll probably just be one match just to get back into it. But then they were like, yeah, I was doing a singles and then a 6-man straight afterwards, and I was just like, okay, let's see how this goes. And yeah, I pretty much blew up. I'd be just a bit near the start of the 2nd match, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it was a tag match, I guess. What was it? A 6-man all out? What was it?
It was a 6-man no DQ. So it was just it was everything happening everywhere, and it was just it was carnage. But somehow I got through it, and then that was my wake up call to say, you know what, I need to get back into shape. Yeah.
I would have just taken a chair, sort of rolled out, and just laid on the floor for 5 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
About.
Yeah. I did. I think I did do that. I took a hit, and I was just like, I'm just gonna sell this for a bit.
Call for you, man. They do it on WWE 2K22. You get hit, you get stunned. That's it. You're after 20 seconds. But who was in the matches then? Because I haven't actually. I've stopped kind of looking into matches and stuff like that, because I'd rather just speak to you as as a fan and somebody, and just hear it from yourself, kind of thing. So, in your PCW matches, who was you competing against?
So my singles match was against Jack Morris, who I believe is wrestling in Noah at the moment. Really talented, really good guy as well. I felt a bit bad for him because I was just like all over the place. But had a singles with him, and then straight afterwards it was a 6-man. I had Rossi Rascal and Jack Knudsen on my team.
Right.
And I think the other 3 lads, 2 of them are the tag team champs for PCW at the moment. I'm really sorry I can't remember the names. but and someone else. But yeah, it was just bedlam. It was just absolute bedlam.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
yeah.
To be fair, in a match like that, you probably took 1 or 2 shots to the head. It's very understandable if it's a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, it was just as there was no DQ, so we were pretty much fighting on the outside for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then got back in the ring and sort of did a bits, and yeah, it was just an absolute scramble at the best of times. Just rules pretty much went out the window. It was just every man for himself at some point.
Is that first time you've wrestled in PCW? It's not, is it? You've had matches there before, haven't you?
That was my first show there.
Okay, it was.
Yeah, and
So
I did one or
first time
two.
you was on, sorry, I did look first time you was on, your matches and stuff, and I didn't think I saw any PCW there. But so,
Yeah.
how did you find it?
Yeah, it was really good. It was the first show I did, that one I just mentioned, was in Lancaster. And it was just the outdoor sort of cantina bar, so it's like a decent setting. The crowd were pretty decent as well. Yeah, I enjoyed. I think I did a couple of shows there. I enjoyed them really much. I mean, there's some really good talent on show there. And yeah, it was a good experience for me.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, I used to go to PCW like every month when it was in Evoke, like in obviously in Preston Town Centre. And it was definitely one of the bigger promotions in the country, kind of thing. I've not been for a few years. Since lockdown lifted and stuff, I haven't been back. But from what I've seen, I know they're not in Evoke anymore. Like the location seems to be a few different places now, kind of thing. So, but I'm hoping they keep that reputation. They kind of stay up there, because they were, for me, in like the top 5 promotions of the country at one point.
Yeah.
So I know it was like a must see venue or must see promotion. So I mean, it's kudos for obviously just working for them. That's all good, because it gets you out and about, and obviously you'll be a lot more faces. You'll be seen to a lot more faces outside of the Leicester area and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the bucket list promotions in Britain, like you mentioned, and yeah, to say you've worked for them is like something
Yeah.
like you'd stick at that. That's a really good experience, and something you can obviously, and then, like you say, it gets me more exposure outside of the Midlands and up north. So yeah, it was a really positive experience.
That's awesome. So I mean, hopefully, if you're venturing up that way, hopefully, obviously, when you're back to full health and stuff, we'll might see you for Tidal or True Grit up in the Leeds area, and we can actually get to see you in my home turf.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know True Grit partnering with PW4U at the moment, and PW4U promotion I also turn up for. So hopefully in the future, when I'm able, could do it. But I could make the trip down.
Definitely, man. As a Midlands boy, it's not now living up north. Well, say it's not too bad up here, so don't be too hesitant about into to dirty Leeds. I've survived. I've been up here about 20 years now, so it's not too bad. I did notice though when I was looking at stuff. I didn't mention this last time. You was on the chase.
Yes, yeah.
I totally forgot about that last time we talked. I meant to bring it up, and then I was looking through stuff today, and I was like, oh yeah, crap, I've got to remember to pick your brain on that, because obviously it says as well that you turned out, or you rocked up as actually within your Chocolate Thunder persona.
Yeah.
How was it, man? Was it surreal? Was it sort of you wasn't against the Beast, was you? It was against Eunice or Ernest.
What's his
It's
name?
one of the new cases, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the new one. I can't remember his name.
I'll say Eunice or something. I'm sure it starts with an E, from what I
Yes,
remember.
something like that.
Yeah.
Dara, that was it. Dara Ennis. Yeah. It seems like years ago now, but it was long before COVID hit. And yeah, I went down, recorded it. I applied to be on a show, did a audition, which I got through, and then got put into the pool of like possible contestants, and got selected to go down for filming. So I had to go down to like London and film the episode, and yeah, it was a surreal experience, like seeing like Bradley Walsh and everyone in the studio where it's all filmed. Yeah, I didn't do too well in the game itself, but yeah, it was like nice to say you've been on TV, like national TV as well.
Exactly, but I can imagine it's like one of those situations when you watch it from home and you're screaming at the TV. You know, the answer seems so obvious when you're watching it, but when you're there, it's like
Yeah, it is.
mind
It's like
goes.
deer in the headlights, literally. Like you're standing there and he's firing questions at you, and you're just like,
I don't know.
yeah, and
What's he up
lights
to?
on when no one's home. Yeah, I was literally I think a lot of people were just like, your questions are really hard though, and I was like, yeah, but I probably could have like answered them a little bit better. But yeah, it was a really good experience, and yeah, got a few new fans out of it as well, so I can't complain too much.
I was going to say it was a good idea, obviously, just to go on in persona as well, because was that something you was in two minds about at first, or did you just know straight away? It's like, right, I'm going to be on the chase. I'm rocking Chucky Thunder out.
As soon as I mentioned Chocolate Thunder, I think that was what sold it for them. So I think that's probably what they picked me for. But yeah, I just thought it was a good opportunity to sort of get my name out there to a wider audience, and yeah, seemed to have worked to some degree.
Awesome. Yeah, can't fault you, dude. It's good. Like I say, it's awesome just to be on TV anyway. You know, just the chase. It's one of those shows that's just fun, regardless of how well you do. I think it's the experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, after you talked about PCW, last time you was on, we talked about Wrestle Island and stuff. Did you get back to Wrestle Island after lockdown sort of stopped?
Yeah, so I think I did 2 or 3 shows for them. So I think a couple not long after lockdown, and a recent one this year, which I believe it was the one that they did the Rumble. I think I can't remember what it's called. This is the way.
Right.
So I think I was at This Is the Way, and that was I was a part of a Rumble that they did at the end. Came in at number 25, so I was quite far down, and yeah,
Okay. Not the
yeah.
lucky number 27, though.
Say that again, sorry.
Not the lucky number 27. That seems to
No.
be the lucky number.
Oh yeah, no, I was just before that, but
Oh,
yeah, it's always good to go down there. I really enjoy going down to Wrestle Island because the fans are great, the venue's great, the shows are always just absolutely fantastic, and there's so much talent like on the shows as well. Um, really can't wait to get back there once I'm able to as well. I'm gutted I've missed the last 2-3 shows, so hopefully I'm not on the shelf much longer and I can go back there.
yeah. No, fingers crossed, dude, definitely, because a lot of people that I've had on the show have kind of travelled through the doors, you know, like Wrestle Island, and then they all say it's a really good sort of place to, you know, to go to work. I kind of get the impression from Peter and stuff as well. It's very sort of family orientated. You kind of get there and you just feels like very just welcoming, and you know, you go there with the right attitude. You know, everything's good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely got a family friendly vibe to it, and but then you've got like all sorts of different bits of like wrestling's different for everyone, right? I mean, people like the technical side of it. Some people like the the high flying side of it. Some people like the stories, and there's a bit of that for everyone in every one of Wrestle Island shows. And if you sit down and watch one, that's what you get. It seems to cater to every audience, and I think that's why it's so successful. Um, and yeah, like you say, there's just like families there just watching it as if it was a family show, and it's just a really good vibe to be around. It's just a good atmosphere to like work in.
Yeah, I get that, and yeah, you're spot on. And sort of, I've always like said it before. A few common sort of theories, like a wrestling show should be like a circus. It should have a bit of everything for everyone. If you're not into the flippy shit, then you'll like the technical matches when they're on.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to see big men slapping meat, there's a couple of those matches as well. So, yeah, so I think that is a very good way to book your show. You can't really sort of lose. And I think, yeah, Pete's doing that really well from I've seen anyway. So what's happening in Leicester at the minute, wrestling wise? Then, are you keeping your toes dipped in at the school, or are you?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to help out the school as much as I can do. I've got me obviously I can't obviously wrestle, but I'm trying to sort of help some of the students there, give feedback wherever I can. Like I think I went to a training session last week and sort of sat in and watched and sort of gave feedback and pointers, and yeah, I just want to be involved as much as I can and try and help people if I can't do it myself. Um, yeah, so just helping out with the school and their shows. Yeah, it's just having a motivation and sort of trying to keep myself safe at the same time.
Yeah.
That I've got to be aware of. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep as involved as I can be.
Well, that's it. I suppose. I mean, obviously, just being able to give feedback and stuff like that. That's got to be, key for like students and just anybody who wrestles. Surely they should always be open to. I was talking to Shane, the actress, about it a couple of weeks ago, and it's just been able to critique or offer spots here and there where you're just like, okay, you've done it that way. I'm not saying that's wrong, but have you tried, thought about doing it this way, or somewhere in the middle, and just mix it up a little bit. Just being open to feedback. So, I mean, how do you find that? Do you find that they are sort of open to you? Do you, do you take your words of wisdom on board?
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, right? We've all been new at something, and we've all been like inexperienced or needed some like feedback or ideas. So it's nice to sort of like pass on your own knowledge that you've gained. Like I'm by no means a vet, do you know what I mean? I'm not a veteran, but I've had some experience of like working shows for like different crowds and different sort of
That's it.
types of crowds. Yeah, exactly. And it's just to pass on that kind of knowledge and sort of help newer people who haven't had that experience or sort of need some guidance. Because you don't necessarily get taught that, like how to like work in different environments, or
It's the flamboyancy as well, innit? I suppose you could offer that kind of outside of it, be like character work as well, not just in ring, just being able to get your character over, having that charisma.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really important. It's a good point, because it's hard. You're putting yourself out there in front of loads of strangers. It's hard. It's hard to, especially when you're trying to play a character. It's hard to sort of for some people to come out your shell and sort of be comfortable with doing what you're doing, and that's why it's you sometimes you need to talk to people and say, do you get these same kind of nerves? And you sometimes go, yeah, actually I do. I mean, at the school we had a seminar with D'Lo Brown, and I think someone asked a question, do you ever get those nerves when you're standing by the curtain waiting to go out? And he said, yeah. And he said, you're not normal if you do, because if you're not nervous, you don't care. And I'd rather you be nervous and cared than not be nervous and didn't care. And that's exactly right. Like if you are nervous, then yeah, clearly you care, and that's a good thing, because you can't not care in this business.
Oh no, you're not going to put your body through that on a night-to-night basis if you don't care about it. So it's not like the money's thousands of pounds and stuff. So you're not going to do it for the money. It's not like, I don't care, but I'm getting paid a shed load. It's like you've got to care about what you do. And yeah, so I've both after performing arts and things like that. And but she always says that she still gets butterflies, when she's about to go out on stage or in front of her audience members and stuff. It's just normal. It just means that the adrenaline's about to pop. You care about it. You don't want to let them down. So
yeah, absolutely.
Just dealing with that, isn't it? You've got to find a way to embrace it, I presume, and just challenge it and go out there.
Yeah, it's just handling that pressure, and then just being able to do your thing when you get in the ring. And with me, it's like I get that nervous feeling when I'm standing by the curtain, and as soon as I step out the curtain, it's like business, and there you go. But yeah,
you've got the persona, aren't you? Was it last time we talked? I think you said when you put like the sunglasses on or something, that was kind of like boom. That's it. Chucky Thunder's here now. Right,
go. It's like Superman. I always say it's like Superman. It's like Clark Kent when he steps in a phone booth. It's just like boom, boom. Let's do business. And it's nice to know that even like experienced people like D'Lo still get that feeling, because it just makes you feel like, he's not much. It's just not that.
It makes you feel normal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's not that much different an experience between like being at that level and then like being a sort of relative newcomer. So yeah, it's good to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, because I suppose it's one of those things that you presume would get easier the more you do it, but when it doesn't, it's like, hang on a minute. It's like, no, it is normal. You can be doing this for 5 years or 20 years, and you still got to get those butterflies. Because it's at the end of the day, you could be working in the same place, but there's going to be new faces there. There's going to be people that may not have seen, will not have seen you before. You're always going to have new people to impress.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, like you mentioned about character. You've got to get your character over, and they've got to understand who you are, what you do, what you bring to the table, and it is an art. Is an art form, being able to like explain, get people to know your character and your gimmick when they've never seen you before. It
Yeah.
is an art form.
Oh, definitely, dude. And that's personally, I think that's why you're kind of within the wrestling minority in the UK, where I still don't think we're overly character based. We don't have that many character wrestlers. So when you've got one, especially like flamboyant as yourself, it stands out, which is a good thing because obviously it's memorable. People will remember, the
Yeah.
show yourself. But you look at a lot of the wrestlers within the UK, and there's not that many that I can think of off the top of my head that are, characters. They're all just kind of extensions of themselves.
Yeah,
To a point where, like, it's just them not even turned up to 11. It's them turned up to like 10.5 or something.
yeah, it is. I know, I understand it's a tough thing for some people to do, and it's like, but like you say, it's the big larger than life characters are the most memorable, right? Like people still remember WWE like gimmicks from the 90s because they were just so out there
Yeah.
and so memorable, and that's just an example of how well it works. Like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with just having a low key gimmick or just being yourself and going out there and wrestling, but the most like the kids in the audience of a show you go to are gonna remember like the big characters, the ones wearing weird jackets or funny hair or just something like that. So it's just about trying to make your mark and just trying to make yourself memorable and like, be the guy that that little kid talks about at school or like to the parents, and that's the way I kind of think about it anyway.
Definitely, yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, like, well, personally speaking, like when I was a kid and I was watching wrestling, it was the characters that pulled me in. It was the characters that made me want to be a wrestler. That characters that made it feel like a live action comic book, something like that. It was those kind of guys that did it, like say in the 90s or 80s and 90s. It was hugely character driven. By sort of mid 95, it probably got a bit silly and used too many characters, but it's about having that balance. And yeah, I think spot on, dude. And like I say, it just makes you, and it makes you memorable. So I don't know how much wrestling you're watching at the minute or watched over the last few years, but I remember watching NWA a couple of years ago and Ziggy Dice.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just totally blown away. That on YouTube, like looking up stuff that he'd done. Again, it's the power of the character.
Yeah, absolutely. Another example of that with NWA was Ricky Starks. Like, I think he cut a promo on one NWA episode I just saw, and I was just like, "Wow, this guy can talk, and wow, he's going to go far." And obviously, he's killing it in AEW at the moment.
Yep.
Another one there is Orange Cassidy. Just a dude in jeans, puts his hands in his pockets, and
Genius, though, isn't it? It's not
yeah,
just me, but as long as wrestling's been around, that is a totally unique character.
yeah,
And how
yeah,
hard would it be to come up with a unique character?
yeah, and sometimes it's the simplest things. It's the simplest things that got over. It's crazy, but yeah, like you say, it's just so different. You can't help but not sort of be absorbed by it.
But but it's the challenge then, because it's easy to get behind the character or notice the character, but then do you find it like an uphill battle to make people actually realise, no, I'm good in the ring as well. I'm a good solid worker. I'm not just a character, because sometimes it's easy to label people as just characters, and they can kind of just get by with the basics in the ring because you remember the character. So you feel like you've got to prove, you're technically sound as well because of that.
I think sometimes I do. I mean, I get it. Like people sort of lump you in the sort of category of, character wrestler, comedy wrestler. But I've been on shows and I've shown that I can work. Like I've had good comments and feedback from people that I've worked with. So yeah, I think I've proven to people that I'm not just a one trick pony. I'm not just like here to sort of get a laugh out of people. I can work. I can sort of have good matches with people, and yeah, I'd like to think that I prove people wrong when they have
So
that sort of mindset.
That's it. So the character's obviously not a crutch. Because the reason I just thought of that was because you just mentioned Orange Cassidy. I remember like when Orange AEW launched and everybody's talking about Orange Cassidy. Obviously, either at the time it was a very love or hate him kind of character. You know, he got zero respect for his ring work because of just the way that he was. Even though you kind of like, you know, it's just in the character. And then obviously some people started to understand and realize the dude could work. You know, he's a very, very good wrestler. But obviously the character was a bit of a crutch to start off with. That's what just made me think, you know, if it's something that everybody kind of goes through.
I would say so. I mean, from a fan perspective, you would look at Orange Cassidy and go, well, the guy can't wrestle, and then what they don't realize is he could probably work a completely normal match with anyone, but it wouldn't fit his gimmick. It wouldn't go with his persona. So yeah, I think it's more fun. It's not so much a lazy take. It's more not an informed take. Like,
yeah,
I think people forget that these guys have trained to wrestle, so they can put on a match, but they're playing the character that they want to play, and you know that's what people want to see from them. Especially like Orange Cassidy, you know, when he's put his hands in his pockets and he's doing a whole, you know, little kick and then the shin kicks, and yeah, like, I think people forget that we've been trained to do this, and you know we can have a proper wrestling match if we want to.
You've got to be technically sound to even get in there.
Exactly.
Kind of thing at that level. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just it's okay. It just seems weird that it would be very easy to dismiss comedy wrestlers or character wrestlers as, you know, just knowing the basics. And yeah, you know they can work a match, but you have to work that little bit harder just to, you know, to win people over as an actual wrestler as opposed to just being talked about as a character. I think that was my idea. So, so besides obviously PCW, Wrestle Island, obviously you've had shows, you worked shows in Leicester after lockdown. What else have you been up to?
So like you mentioned, FTGU, done a show for PW4U, which was early in the year. It was just 2 shows in one day again, but there was a bit of a break in between. So yeah, I managed to get myself together for that one. So yeah, done shows for them. PEW, they're based in Stratford upon Avon. I've done a couple shows for them, which were quite good. Still trying to keep myself in and about, helping do the posters when I can. At the moment, and I did a show for Resurgence just before I had to stop wrestling, which was like a really good experience as well.
Okay, where was that one?
That was in Leicester again, so yeah, not a huge trip for me, but yeah, I was in one of their rumbles, in the rumble show. So yeah, it was good to, obviously always good to wrestle in your hometown and, you know, in front of a home crowd, and yeah, it was a good experience and a really good show.
Awesome. Again, was that your first? Was that your sort of debut for Resurgence?
Yes, it was. Yeah, they pretty much contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be in the Rumble. I said, yeah, I'd be more than happy to. Yeah, and yeah, it was just like whirlwind, really. The Resurgence I've been going to Resurgence shows for a few years, and you know, watched them because they always do shows in Leicester. So it's not that far a trip, and it's like a good, decent night's entertainment as well. So to like actually be on a show when you've sort of like watched them and like helped out with ring crew, it was like really like a real rewarding experience, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Hopefully I can get back there again once I'm able to.
I know. So it sounds like before sort of getting temporarily sidelined, you know, you was ticking boxes, you was making debuts for promotions that you'd not worked at before. Yeah, man, it seemed like you was on an upward curve. So you're obviously doing something right. So yeah, you know, when you're feeling all better again, you know, say just keep doing what you're doing, dude, because obviously it's working. So, do you think were you doing anything different, or would you just think it was just starting to click into place, and you was just starting to get that rhythm going?
I think it was just getting a rhythm going and momentum. Like, I think more people were starting to notice me. I was getting more of a following and more eyes on me. And obviously, life being life, timing is just awful. And obviously, I had to stop to get this sorted out. which is obviously really disappointing. But it's one of those things that can't be helped, and I don't think I'm far off being able to get back. Obviously, I've just got to listen to doctors and see what they say. But yeah, I think something was going right. I was getting all that momentum, and it was kind of like COVID again. Like I felt just before COVID hit, I was getting some momentum and I was getting some more traction, and then obviously it stopped and I started again, and now it feels like I've stopped and started, and hopefully soon we'll start again. So I'm just hoping I can pick up that momentum again and sort of drive on forward to that next level.
Oh, I don't think there's a question, dude. I think literally yes. When you're able to come back, you get yourself back into shape, hit the ground running. Obviously as well, I think people will just be really freaking happy to see you back as well. So that's got to be when you next appear like Wrestle Island and the PCW, I think the pop you're gonna get will sort of make you feel all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird and emotional.
You can't try and be a heel when you go back. You've got to go back as a baby.
Yeah, part of me wants to do it as a heel because I'm pretty sure I could do it. But yeah, I think everyone's just been like, "There's no way you can be a heel. You've got to be like a monster baby face." And it's like, yeah, probably have to, but
not for long.
Yeah.
Start being a heel again, or just you just get the warm fuzzy feeling for the first couple of shows.
Yeah, get that and
tell the crowd to go F themselves, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm back. There we go."
Yeah, absolutely.
Sunglasses are on. So obviously, then I sort of said, when you're back, what's the boxes, what you want to get ticked off. Any sort of obviously belts in the future, and anywhere that you want to go in the country that you've not been. I mentioned Leeds. Have you got any goals for any other places?
Yeah, definitely more places up north. Like obviously, I've worked for PCW Wrestle Island, so I've obviously got a following up there, in the northwest specifically. Again, just trying to get to as many places as possible. Like you said, Tidal would be a good one to go to. True Grit. Some more places down south because I've not really wrestled many places down south, so it'd be nice to get to some more shows down there like Rev Pro and the like. Yeah, just as many places as possible and just make the most of being healthy again, really.
That's it. And in all fairness, I can't see why you wouldn't. Like I said, the momentum that you're building beforehand, that you'll get back on straight away as soon as you come back, kind of thing. That momentum will start to pick up again. I think it's only going to be a year or two before we start seeing your face, all over the bloody country, kind of thing. So yeah. What about Scotland? Is that somewhere that you fancy going up?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never actually sort of wrestled anywhere other than England, so yeah, Scotland would be a place. Also, I think there's a few
the crowds.
Yeah, really good crowds. Yeah, it's a few good promotions there I'd like to go to. Wales as well, maybe some places abroad would be nice to go to. Obviously, it's just opportunities. Yeah, I just want to obviously pick up where I left off and sort of keep just sort of working as much as I can.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely do. And well, it goes without saying, man. I think you're gonna smash it when you come back. Fingers crossed it's sooner rather than later. And good health. Just hopefully keep doing what you're doing because well, hopefully you say you're feeling better, so everything's going as it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm just hoping it's the end is in sight, but yeah, we'll fingers crossed and we'll see.
Right. Do you want to? I've got to sort of. We'll wrap it up. Sort of just a quick catch-up call on check in with you, and say hi and stuff. Do you want to give us a social media shout out where we can find you and get that merch plugged?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my socials are Twitter is Chucky_Thunder. Same for Instagram, and on Facebook you can find me as Chocolate Thunder on there as well. And yeah, my merch as well is on Big Cartel. It's chuckstore.bigcartel.com. got hoodies, t-shirts, signed posters, the lot. All proceeds will go to a major UK cancer charity. So yeah, please, if you want a t-shirt and you want to give to a good cause, by all means do so.
Go look up the Chakra Kai hoodies. It's literally one of the best pieces of merchandise I've seen on the UK scene for a long time. I'm just waiting to get one myself, so I will be purchasing one at some point very soon. Dude, thank you so much for just talking to me and letting me have some of your time. It's been awesome, and yeah, like I said, man, without a shadow of a doubt, we will see you back very soon, and we'll see you lifting up some belts and just being awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I hope it's not too long now.
It should be, dude. Right, I will sign off from here. I will say thank you for watching this episode. To go hit like, hit subscribe, share the YouTube channel, and just you'll find us on social media. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.